The time is nigh. Open up your eyes to see the signs of the times. Got to be wise to all of their lives. Look to the skies from where my help comes. Wake up, got to wake up from the slumber. Don't let them pull you under. Rise up above the water. Never let them wrestle you into the mud.
Hi, greetings, family. Greetings in the name of His and Her Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I, Empress Wazir Menin, one perfect balance. Yes, first let me apologize for the tardiness. I was actually on a Zoom. Shout out to Dominica, by the way. Just shout out to Dominica and the coalition that is organizing to bring relief and assistance regarding what's going on there. Let me know how the mic is sounding, family, because I'm getting a feedback here in my space. Perhaps it's because of the two, I'm not sure. Oh, thank you. Yeah. That's good. Yeah, yeah, family, look, man. Yeah, I had to part because I was there. I didn't want to. But I just left that meeting so I can officially start politically incorrect. Let me say this right now from the beginning. What I heard in that meeting just now, the things that are going on, and I'm gonna share some of it with you, not too much, but enough to give you a picture of what's happening. Last week we did a program, and we had some guests come in from Dominica regarding what's going on there and the government, and it was to put it in a nutshell, a lot was said that we weren't even aware of, including documents that were sent to our Prime Minister, the head of CARICOM, requesting the refraining from sending the RSS troops to Dominica to assist the Prime Minister in what has become clearly dictatorship on a whole different level. We talk about Miss Small, he's a dictator. Dominica is on a whole different trajectory at this point. As we speak, they're members of the opposition and individuals who support the opposition being kidnapped. They use the term being arrested, but at this point, it's basic kidnap, being held for ransom, because there's money involved, and so of some sort of surety. But what it also does, it disqualifies them in some way, because having a record or having a charge or having a current case, if elections were to be called next week, it might disqualify a lot of the members who might be involved in politics from running in the upcoming elections. But as we speak, the update in Dominica, the update on the state of Dominica, basically, yes, it has been confirmed and it's currently a police state. I mean, if you didn't have any questions before, if you wasn't sure before, rest assured now it has been confirmed. Why do I say that? Well, because when the government goes and uses a law from the 18th century, listen to me very carefully. When the government goes and uses a law, not even a law, a statute or whatever they call it, from the 18th century, is 17 something. I don't have the date correct, but I'm sure somebody who might know could always post it, pertaining to riots and that kind of stuff. Despite the fact that Dominica is a republic, this Prime Minister went and searched for an act from the 18th century to try to charge people with. You know, you don't get no more desperate than that. So this is either a well-scripted play, like Donald Trump secretly leaking a message about war over a social media platform to a reporter, which, by the way, is brilliant psychological war strategy, just for the record. This is either about to rival that, because this is a psychological ploy as well, without question. I'm sure Dominicans right now are scared stiff. Well, not all of them in a general sense, but enough of them to cause perhaps a different reaction. The problem in trying to rule with fear as opposed to respect is at some point in time, people stop fearing you. And therefore, then you have a problem. And so I want the Caribbean to take a leaf out of this book right now and study it, because this could very well be coming to a country near you very soon. But thanks for those folks who were patient and waited. I really wanted to go back in the meeting and listen to what was going on. But I wanted to share some stuff really quick here. And let me see if I can really find it now, because I want to play 1 or 2 clips really quick tonight. Just 1 or 2 clips. This pertains to, is this it? Yeah, this pertains to what the Prime Minister said and some of the other stuff that's going on. The brother that was on the program last week here with us, Mr. Benson, is also one of the individuals who were kidnapped. They went to his house and they took him. And again, I don't know if they took him for questioning, what's the situation, if they're charging him with this same act from 17 or whenever. Madness that talks, that's straight off the plantocracy. That is literally something off the plantation. This Prime Minister is crazy, man. I don't know. Let me just go. I want you to hear him speak, personally speaking. You know what I'm saying? I want you to hear him speak regarding something he said last week that would have basically indicated where he was going this week, and perhaps even where he's going down the road. But in fact, before you get to that though, let me just do real quick here. I want to shout out Jackie from Dominica. Thanks for being patient and staying on the ride. Sean, I see you, man. Notification. I hope it working now though. Beverly, we see you. Good night to you as well. It is crazy, man. Yes, thank you, loud and clear. Yes, give thanks to the family. Ishmael family, give thanks. Greetings to you too. Tell a friend and tell a friend. King Alfred, yes, shout out to you and the whole family. Shout out to the family in UK watching. Tell a friend and tell a friend. Pedro, yeah, I know it kind of late, man. I was at meeting out those brothers and the sisters there. More power to them, more strength. Brother Fontaine and others, they're all there, and I want to definitely, give thanks for those brave enough to step up and step forward. Because we know that everybody not going to do that. We have the Gideon's army. We understand that. We know that some is going to, a few good men. We know that. He said that right act needs to be amended and stricken from the books. I think the books need to be burned and stricken themselves, quite frankly. The problem is, right? Greetings to you too, Daffodil. Greetings, yes, greetings. Yes, family. Greetings. I want to say this, brethren. When it comes to Dominica and these different acts, Dominica is another place that had something called the Dread Act. You can go write that one down. That allowed officers to basically, if they saw a Rasta man, they could harm a Rasta man with impunity on sight, no questions asked. Dominica is known for creating these laws, these draconian laws, and we got to get honest, family. There's a conversation that Dominicans need to have that they may not want to have. And that's at this point, I'm going to say this, and I want y'all to take this with a grain of salt, but understand the wisdom in what I'm saying. When you see countries like Afghanistan and Syria, and especially in the Middle East, predominantly the Middle East, we call it Taliban and ISIS and Al Qaeda and these kind of names. When you start having that conversation, it's like, these guys are terrorists, and we say that because the West define them as such. The funny thing is, when Britain invaded America, the individuals that fought against the establishment were called freedom fighters. They weren't called terrorists. So in the East, when you fight for freedom, you're called a terrorist. But in the West, especially the far west, you're called a freedom fighter. Well, guess what? I don't know where you draw the line between the two, but Dominica, the whole Caribbean really, but especially at this moment, Dominica, y'all gonna have to define where that line is drawn. Because as much as we talk about going to the court system, a lot of these judges, if they were any good, would see the damage that's being done and would step up and openly speak and declare certain things unconstitutional, violations of rights, violations that they would speak up and speak out. The fact that you have judges that are currently trying to even impose different bail conditions to destabilize, marginalize, segregate individuals from their own people by limiting your movement and whatnot. I mean, it's again based on an act that is draconian at best, and from the 18 God knows when. He said, also known as the Public Order Act or Public Ordinance. I mean, think about this. When this was in the books, and I think there's one before that originally. Maybe that's when it was amended. I'm not sure, but apparently it goes back, family. It goes back even older than that. I think at this point, family, is obvious what needs to be done, and we may not want to have that conversation, but in fact, let me let him tell it. Let me let him tell it in his own words. Let me let this. Listen, they're not like us, family. I'm telling you, they're not. They're not. We keep thinking that the white man was the devil. The question is, who created the devil? That's the question.
In respect to a trade war, our concern as Caribbean countries, Dominica included, is that if you have two of the most powerful countries from an economic standpoint not working together, it will have an impact on us. It will have an impact on the cost of living on us because, because the price of goods are going to be increased. And even what is produced in China goes through the United States. We buy it mainly from the United States. And even what we purchase from the United States, we buy it from different sources. So you're gonna see an impact on the price of goods and on services for all of us. And so this is why we always urge our partners, our friends, in that case, the United States and China and Europe and Canada, as you see, and Mexico, all our friends. We have great relations with all of these countries. To work out the differences and to come to a mutually beneficial understanding. But while you're discussing and while you're trying to work out a workable solution between yourselves, be mindful of us. The rest of us were not part of the debate and were not part of the argument because we live in a globalized world. Everything is interconnected. You understand, and therefore it's important for us to ensure that when the elephants are fighting, that the small humans like us don't get crushed, so to speak.
I like the fact that he's made that statement and he laughed and nobody thought it was funny. And the reason why I played that, I did that on purpose because of what's going to happen next. Keep in mind what he said basically was the trade wars is a big thing. Of course, America, China, Canada, Mexico, yeah, they're going at it. And his thing is we have relationships with all of them, good relationships. But we want them to be mindful that when they're doing whatever they're doing, that we, the smaller people, hey, look, man, we're liable to suffer because of what you're doing, because of decisions you make. The irony is profound because while he's making decisions of his own for his own benefit, and perhaps those associates that associate with him, the people in Dominica, he not being mindful about what affects them. The irony. And like he said, when the big elephants fight, these small people, But guess what? He right now is literally manifesting his own words and turning it against his own people. But listen to this and what comes up next, family. Listen to this.
Yeah, yes, Mark, please. I mean, it's okay. It's okay. I mean, yeah, sitting is okay.
Planned protest action on, I say Dominicans, or the opposition, if you want to refer that way. They have a planned protest action coming Wednesday. And we've heard comments from you this morning indicating that you've advised your security minister to bring in the RSS. That's one question, if necessary. Okay. Would there be a need for that, Prime Minister?
But the question is, he heard as a plan. This was pretended last week. He heard about it, but he's advised that to bring the RSS. Listen to the response, family. So you can, again, it sets the tone. This is last week. This is prior to the individuals coming on the program and sharing what really was the outcome of what was said. Listen to what was said last week and recognize what is happening this week.
Yeah, well, the point is, we'll have to go based on past experiences. In 2016, we were in Parliament to pass the legislation then of electoral reform, and because some people tend to forget this, we had legislation, and when one looks at the legislation, it is almost identical. What Sir Dennis, when I hear people talk about Sir Dennis Byron report, what Sir Dennis Byron submitted and what was there before Parliament 2016, they're not many dissimilarities, and we know what happened. And obviously, the opposition elements are seeking to mobilize people for demonstration with the intention, as they say, to prevent the bills from being passed. Now, how are you going to prevent the bills from being passed if you don't sit in Parliament? What actions are you going to take? So we have no problem with anybody expressing their dissatisfaction with any provisions in the three bills. That's okay, but it must be done with respect to the others who have a different view, and it must be done without impinging on other people's rights of free movement and circulation within the country and within Dominica, within the state. And so we have no problem with that. But all I want to say to people is that the rule of law must be respected. And there's a process by which one goes about exercising their right to protest or demonstrate. And when you do so, it must be done without impinging on the rights of others. And therefore, you cannot go and break the law in the process of protesting. And if anybody who is going to break the law and feel that they're going to do to rush the Parliament, as they tried to do last time, because as you know, Matt, the last time in 2016, the police had to fire gunshots to try to control the crowd, the rioters. That's happened. Let us not forget 2007, February 7, a few years ago. What happened with the burning of many businesses in Rosa? So there's a tendency on the part of opposition elements in Dominica to engage themselves in lawlessness. And all we're saying is that this time it will not be tolerated by anyone. And the regional security system was set up for this very same reason, to assist member states in maintaining law and order and the respect for the rule of law in our countries.
The RS was set up for this same purpose, for the rule of law. Any people becoming, lawless. So let me get this straight. Your people, not rioters. See, when they use words to describe people like that, it tells you what their intentions are. Not the good citizens that are disagreeing with your decisions. He talked about maintaining law and not disturbing the rights of the people. But so these rioters are disturbing the rights of the people as if these quote unquote rioters are not people themselves. Now you got to understand the language and how it is being used to justify the behavior. And by the way, the RAS that brought in the last time, they came in, but they also came in and fired. They literally fired shots into the crowd. They wouldn't, and several persons were injured. And to my knowledge, I think a few persons died as well as a result. So there's a history of this behavior, as he's indicating, from the people, but there's also a history from this individual right here. So this is why I'm saying we can't function as if it's business as usual, because it is not business as usual. In fact, let me finish his sentence.
And yes, the Minister of National Security has been given the green light to put the regional security system on alert. And if we need them, then they'll come to Dominica to assist us with maintaining law and order. But the bills must go to Parliament. Parliament has been given the lawful constitutional right to be the only entity in the country to pass laws. We went through a very exhaustive, very prolonged consultative process and exercise. And if everybody who wanted to express themselves, there are things that they in these bills which I did not originally agree to, and I decided to give up because to allow the process to go forward. Why do you think that? Because you do not like some things that you said not in there, that the law shouldn't be passed. No, that can't be right. And the business community, the DHTA and the DIC can't remain silent, and the Employers Federation and the Christian Council and the Evangelical Association can't remain silent when people are not respecting others' right to express themselves. You express yourself, and you want the discussion. We agree to some of your points. We gave up as a government the opportunity for the Electoral Commission to go to major capitals where Dominicans are resident and countries where Dominicans are resident to avail themselves of the confirmation process. We decided, let's bring them to Dominica. So for you to confirm, everybody must come to Dominica. We always maintain that we should have a national ID card that could be used for many other purposes. And if you have a national ID card that you can use to travel within the OECS, that you can use at the banks and you can use in different areas in the country, there'll always be a willingness on the part of the holder of it to keep it closed because he has multiple uses, as opposed to having a voter ID card that you essentially use only every 5 years. There's always and if it has no currency, no value to you for 45 years, then you may not be bothered with it. And we decide, okay, well, to allow the process to go forward, let us go with the voter ID card. And we decided to go to the voter ID card, and so we have done these things, and there are many other things that we have given up in the process that we believe were fundamental. But there are some things that we believe that should not be negotiated because we have a duty and obligation to protect the franchise and the right of people to vote in Dominica. And we should not put things in the way of people to exercise their franchise and their right to freely do so.
Okay. So as you hear, the whole focus is getting basically what they want done, and what he's basically claiming is that, well, the House, Parliament, the courts has the right to create these laws and put them in place, and no one else can really challenge them. Well, here's the deal, though, family, and I think that I don't know. We try to reach out to somebody from the Parliament because somebody said that we should try to connect with. I don't think he's coming on the program. I don't know. He might be hiding on now. I don't know. The reality is that Dominicans have a fight on their hand, and whether they're at home or abroad, they have a fight on their hands, and they're going to have to decide how they're going to go forward. But Dominica is a lesson that we, the Caribbean, need to watch and learn. The last time we saw something like this was Haiti. And when the people eventually stood up and fought against the then government that was claiming that they had the rights to do the same thing he's saying, and they won, well, they were victimized for centuries afterwards, and the Caribbean stood by and watched. And although the Caribbean stood by and watched, you understand now why when they send troops in there to, undermine the very people who have fought for the liberations. That's a conversation we have to start having. These governments that we talk about, like he's speaking ever so eloquent about these governments. I mean, who are these governments that we literally just came and found? Who are they really? Like, who are they? I mean, they claim to have an authority. Like he said, the only one who has the authority, nobody's arguing that. The question is, how you got the authority? Like, how? How did this come? How did this show of power come to be? Is it that you only have power because the people gave you power? And if so, if the people give it, can now the people take it back? If they so choose to. If it's democracy, isn't it that there's a true democracy versus a false sense of democracy? We got questions we got to answer ourselves, family. I see you, Pedro. Greetings to you too, Rhonda. Shout out to all my Guyanese family. He says, yes, protect the franchise. You know what he's saying. Amend the electoral laws to reflect 2 terms and you're out. Nah, he don't want that. We're not setting up any. Listen, the problem is that I guess they want to do the digital ID because the only way you can use your ID at a bank and hold it safe because it has multiple functions is because you can use it as, I guess, to put money on it. I suppose that's what he meant by that. But my thing is this, there needs to be some dialogue going on right now in Dominica. It's not even about picking a part. In fact, it's not even about a party, whether opposition or otherwise. It's about the people of Dominica. I am sure if they were to open a forum to allow the people to speak freely without fear of something happening, I am sure what you hear coming out of Dominica would be very different. He is speaking for the plantocracy. We must understand that. He's not speaking for the people, who are many. He's speaking for the few, the 1%, the plantocracy, the private sector, the business owners. That's for the most part. And it's really, Pam, it's really a sad thing. We in 2025, this could be 1605, but that's ideally what they're looking to do. And we don't see it because we never understood how it happened in the first place. We were told the story and we basically ran with it. But this is how these Caribbean territories were seized and occupied by the invaders. They used tact and guile. This law, our constitution, democracy, all these Westminster colonial terms. That's not who we are as a people, as a nation. None of this stuff applies to us. The people of Dominica have to start to function under an indigenous status, under their sovereign status, and separate themselves from this alleged authority. They can only have authority over you if you give them authority. But if you revoke that authority, then they have no authority, and their laws and whatnot wouldn't apply. For example, let's look at it this way. If this prime minister feels that, this is what's best for the nation, he might be right. But you got to express to the people, how did we arrive at this point? How? That has to be expressed in some form or fashion. Let me put the number on the line. Let me see, where is it? Oh, here it is. Here it is. Yeah, this right here, man, family, is concerning because a dictatorship doesn't need dialogue, Emmanuel. Yeah. All right, good point, Sean. Good point. Good point. My thing is this, though. At this stage, we got to do one of two things. We got to be willing to call a spade, family, because I was listening to that the Zoom. Man, family, we got to do something. The Caribbean has to do something. The Caribbean came together to some degree and sent troops to Haiti to maintain, they said, peace or whatever they call it. Dominica right now is a boiling pot. The police, in fact, hold on, let me see if I can find that. Right, I had that one here, so I had that one here as well. Let me see if I can find it. This brother right here, I came across this brother right here as well.
As a Dominican, as a citizen of the Whitey Kubuli, as a diaspora, we are on the outside looking at what is going on to our people in Dominica. And it's a shame. It's a shame. We are getting to a level where there is no turning back. We are going down that river where we're going to end up in that vast, deep ocean where we are all going to be perished. When I look at the way this police, JJ, treated the young lady, the journalist, how he abused her, how he abused his power, while Kiwana and Curtis stood there and did nothing. Miss Quincy, DBS Radio, Mr. Quincy, whatever it is. It was a disgrace. And it wasn't even much what the JJ guy did. It was more about what you didn't do. We looked up to you guys. As young people growing up, hearing you on the radio station. It's a shame to see that you did not stand up for the young lady. While she continued to be professional, you allow that man to break down that young lady. Although she behaved like it wasn't affecting her, but we know it was because it affected us from where we are.
Mm-hmm.
This thing is going too far, man. This is going too far. This is getting to a point of no return. Prime Minister Skerrit, if you are looking at this, stop, man. Stop. Stop. You cannot continue that charade, my brother. You can't. I am speaking to you as another young man. We are the same age. You came from humble beginning just like I did. You did your job. You did a good job, especially for the first 10, 15 years. This is getting out of control. We know you will not step down because of your pride. We understand that. You are not that kind of guy that is just going to step down. We know that. You do not want that legacy. But think about it. Do you want a legacy where your country get perished? Your people die. Your people starve. The name of your country is a disgrace. Is that the legacy that you want? Is that what you want to leave behind? Is that the story that you want your family, your children, your grandchildren to tell? Man, release the people, man. Let my people go before it's too late. Let my people go. All these people are asking for is fair and honest election. That is all they are asking for. And you are willing for people to die over that? Because when I look at police knocking down citizens with baton, the stick, when I see police knocking down the citizen, my people, your people, because they are trying to get fair and honest election, electoral reform. When I see this thing happening, what do you think is going to happen? What do you think the people are going to continue to do? You think they're going to continue crying? It is going to be war. You do not want that. I do not want that. None of us want that in our peaceful little nation. None of us want that. The country have been held back for much too long. It is time you release the people. You don't have to step down, my brother. You don't have to step down. Be the person that you were when you signed up, when we gave you the job to represent us. Be that person. Be that young man from Vickers who stood for something and give those people their electoral reform. Give it to us. And leave a good legacy behind, my brother. Give the people their electoral reform so that they can vote. So that my name that been sitting there for over 25 years. Can you believe that? I went down and I checked, and my name is still on the registry. My name is still as a registered voter after being in the United States for over 25 years. Yes, I come and go, but the last time I signed up was about that time, and my name is still there. I remember speaking to a young lady around the election time, and I say, why is my name there? Oh, well, you put it there. No, I didn't. Do I look like I have amnesia or some kind of senile kind of stuff going on with me?
Crazy.
No, I didn't. Well, maybe you forget. No, I did not. I did not. And that is the problem that we are having, man. People who haven't been in Dominica, people that have been gone for so long are still there. People that haven't been in the country for years are coming back and voting. That's not right. That is not right. That is not right. You did what you have to do, especially for the first 10 years. You did a good job. And you moved it forward. We will remember that. We will not forget that. We will not forget the 90% of good that you did. It will not outweigh what you didn't do or the wrongs that you did. We will not forget that. That some say you did or didn't do. But it's time to do the right thing.
Simple as that. Simply put, it is time to do the right thing. I would like to say this in addition to that, and that is, it's only a matter of when. You can't keep pushing the people, and that goes for all the Caribbean islands. Isn't it ironic that you find the same thing similarly going on? The people being marginalized in one way or the other. One way or the other. I mean, why is Dominica right now the focus? Because you could see where this is going. And all the Caribbean right now is waiting for is one spark. One spark. All the islands, you find people are feeling the same way. They fed up. Cost of living, the politicians, corruption, no integrity bill. Politicians doing as they like. Things happening all over the place. It's like, when and where does it end? Greetings to you too, Richard. Now here's a question for y'all. Now he said about people, he lived away for so long, but he's then on the Reddit the voters list. Do you think that, this is a question, family, what's your opinion on this? Do you think that people who do not return to their homeland or are away from their homeland, not involved in their homeland, should have a say in who runs their homeland? Especially not having knowledge of what goes on the ground. I think there's much to be said about that, because, yeah, I think that's an interesting question. Could it be that, you know, majority of the folks who left come back and vote for one person, not understanding the demographics, what goes on, what's happening, what's been going on? Is it, what do you think? Like, what are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on that, man? Bro, my grandmother lived in Barbados from her youth and died in Barbados at the age of 80. Yes, Daffodil. He made some valid points, man. I like to compare how this island that remained colonies differ from those which became independent. Good question. That'd be a good research right there. The whole Caribbean under attack. It's a fact. Let my people go. Pressure does burst pipes. It's a fact. Yep. At this point, same script, despite the rhetoric. Yeah, I think that's a fact, man. I do agree with that. I just said should not be allowed to vote. It's a good question. Should individuals who leave, who have been abroad for over a decade at the very least, or should be over a decade, which is basically 2 terms, be allowed to vote. I think we need to look at this holistically, though. Pedro is saying they should be allowed to vote. They should not be allowed to vote. Pam is saying yes, they should have say. Strangers who come and move in have more say and rights than the natives. That is also a fact, family. Check it out. That is also a fact. That also a fact, man. Some people keep abreast. I no longer live in my island homeland, but I keep in touch politically, and I have gone back to vote. And that's the thing. See right here? This idea of voting, having a say, being relevant. When we start to really understand the purpose of voting, we're going to stay away from it. We will definitely stay away from it. And I think these times right now are the perfect opportunity for us to start to pay attention as to what's been going on, and also the perfect opportunity to unlearn and relearn some things. That's what's going on, That's what my feelings are at this point. The brother said there's bacchanal going on in Trinidad with Keith Rowley gets caught with his, double speak, saying one thing on one day and then another on another day. Social media, this thing is crazy as a politician. Chassanet, I think that's his name too. Same thing. He's out there making bold statements in St. Lucia right now and spreading disinformation is called. In fact, it said new disinformation tactics on his master's press conference. And so they call him a massa. They call him massa. These Caribbean, in fact, let me play this, man. These Caribbean leaders, they on a whole different program, a whole different trip. On a whole different trip. Hang on. On a whole different trip. And when you start to see that the whole Caribbean the islands are going through it, when you start to look at this thing regionally and recognize these are all like distractions, They literally like, everywhere you look, there's just something going on that's seemingly mad and crazy. Don't make no sense. Meanwhile, the world is in turmoil. Things are changing. Things being put in place. Cryptocurrency and all kind of stuff happening. And it's like, we're not paying attention. We're not paying attention, family.
Too many solutions, too many, remain silent when people in Parliament, members of the Labour Party, want to make racist remarks. He was the one who said that Kenny Anthony was a white man. He's the one who said Kenny Anthony came from a Massa family.
Another word for Kennynomics is plantocracy economics. Because it's only in the days of plantocracy that a landlord would impose taxes on the people who are working the lands and not care about the conditions of their work or their living conditions, but was more concerned about his own living standards. But when one sees where the history and the heritage of Dr. Anthony and that a Massa mentality, and you can change your name, but you cannot change who you are.
The fact of the matter is, the Barnard family were never ever engaged in slavery. They were not plantation owners during the period of slavery. They actually arrived in the Caribbean in the 1880s, and they came out of Sussex in the United Kingdom.
The history and the heritage of Dr. Anthony, and that a Massa mentality.
What the Labour Party has done in the past in the South and what they are doing today.
Today, yes.
They should be publicly flogged for what they're doing.
Yes. Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
They should be publicly flogged.
Publicly flogged. These politicians, I'm telling you, family, we are not paying attention. They talking and talking. This press conference with this guy, Scarrett, I mean, look, family, like I said, it's late. What time is it? It's already after 11. I know it's late. I was in that Zoom. Like I said, it's probably finished by now. I'll pick it up tomorrow and get some contact. Like I said, a few things have happened. One of the things that happened is that the brother that was here with us, they basically came to his residence and took him out in handcuffs. And so our prayers go out with that brother. In fact, let me pull this down. Put this up real quick. Hang on a second. Yeah. My thing is that the brother was, willing to come out and share with us, his situation, what he felt had happened, what he was experiencing firsthand. And, like I said, more power for those who had the courage to come out and represent for the people. Basically, the brother, Brother Johnson, Boso, Boston, along with a few others, have been taken into police custody. They have been kidnapped. That's the term I'm using by the what we would consider the policy enforcers, who are also previously known as the slave catchers. So seeing as how we're using slave codes to enforce on the people, let that be a reminder, family, of how they see us. Although we have this illusion of inclusion, bear in mind that a lot of these things didn't apply to us as a people. And when they do this in front of your face, when they openly practice colonial and draconian measures, it lets you know that, and it's a blunt reminder that they are not like us. That is just the bottom line. I'm saying, so more strength to all those that were kidnapped and being held for ransom, pending some hearing in front of individual that been given authority by the same plantocracy to hold you ransom in the first place. Recognize it's a scam, family, and there's no way out of it except one way. One way. You're going to have to fight for your liberation. And it's that simple. And there's fight in different ways, though. Let's keep that in mind. He said, Stephen said, yes, it should be allowed to vote. I don't like voting. I don't vote. Facts. What you think, Ras? I know. Nah, Pedro, I don't. Okay, well, like I said, once you understand what the process of voting is really all about, the illusion of inclusion, then you will run from it. Some of us still have invested interest in the land of our birth, property, etc. So we should have a say. But that's just it. We think that our vote is a say. That's think about it. Why would the plantocracy give you anything to empower you? They give you a vote, but they don't give you no economics. And somehow you seem to think that your vote has power. You ain't got no economics to back that vote, but you think that vote have power. It's the illusion of inclusion. They don't want to give up that power. And the thief of the money, the theft of the money. Nah, they ain't want. Nah, that's my whole point. Economics. Home is where the heart is right now. Selection, not election. Save your breath. That's the fact. Right there. It's be a selection, man. They just take the elections are a private census to determine the temperature of the people. So if the energy swaying in one direction, naturally they counteract it by selecting an entity of a certain value to kind of pivot and bring things back on a certain level. until that entity get out of hand again and the people sway a different direction. Then they got to bring another entity in to counterbalance it. It's all a script, family. He said that the cash is always spent in disinformation, perpetual state of delusion. Greetings to you too, family. They want the Caribbean. That's basically it in a nutshell. So brothers like, the brother and the others that came on the program, Fontaine and the sister Rose, they're the warriors at this point. Those are the brave souls that coming forward. That's why we have to support them and give them more strength. We got to pray for them. And then in addition to that, we got to support the cause. We got to support it. We can't just sit down on this thing. One Caribbean family. That's it. That's it. Got to be one Caribbean. He said he brought the race story into election. Mr. Meade made some serious declarations at the 48th summit. So he's oh man. So got it later. St. Lucia got their own thing going on. He's speaking metaphorically. Strength to the brethren. Yes, Daffodil. They went and got him, but they also got a few others. They got a few others. I had a video as well. I don't know if I still have that, where they were going up. In fact, let me check and see. Again, constabularies, man. We don't have a choice, family. We had to support each other, or is one at a time. Well, I don't know if he was charged with anything, Rowan. I think from my understanding, they were questioning the brother. If you were charged with something, then you ain't got to question it, brother. You already have a case. They don't have any cases. I think a lot of these trumped-up charges are also, like I said, a deliberate ploy to disable them from being a part of the electoral process that's supposed to be coming up. So, if you got an open case or you got a conviction, you carry a minister. They implement chips into the black people's heads, got them behaving like white coconuts. Sean, don't be so hard, man. Natural disaster should go the way and sort them out, everybody on one level. And sort them out, Daffodil. A natural disaster should go that way and sort them out. Man, you'd be surprised what happened in that direction. It's all energy. But like I said, I wanted to come on, and after leaving the meeting early, I just wanted to share with the people that we gotta, in solidarity. It's a solidarity meeting, in solidarity with our brothers and sisters next door. We can't just sit back and watch the system come and just take people and tell them come in the middle of the night, early morning, and extract you from your home and your family and the dead, and then take you somewhere and nobody knows. Nah, we ain't playing that. We gotta realize, family, we gotta decide what we're doing. And decide it now. I'm going to cancel that. I'm gonna roll out, family. This is just one of the things I also want to mention, and I only mention this in passing because a lot is being said about it. That's the young man in Barbados who, and I mean another young man. That's because they're all the same. The feeling goes to the same. We've got so numb at the fact that death and losing our young people is such a norm now. It's like another one, and it's like, well, this one hit home and that one hit home. They all hit home, family. A 13-year-old young man. I mean, and we could, again, we're not even gonna. This is the season of Lent. More strength to the family of that young man. is all I could say, really. His mom is abroad, his father's here. More strength to that young man. 13 years old. I have my own thoughts on that, though. That might be very different to the social norm. But, yeah, family. We got to start calling a spade, man. Serious. He said, so, wait, hold on, I just saw it. They implant chips into black people's heads, right? But yeah, I got you covered. I like that. That was clever. That was clever. Sean, you ain't easy at all, man. No love. They have no love, man. None. Remember, this is Lent, family. Yep, Sean. Those who know. Yo, man, look. I wanted to just drop this briefly. My brothers and sisters in Dominica, and in matter of solidarity. Yes, we in Barbados, we the original people, we Barbados National Congress stand with the people of Dominica. The whole of faith, by the way. We stand in solidarity with our brothers and sisters in the region, at home and abroad. One Caribbean, that has to be the language we are speaking. Trump and talking about making Canada the 51st state by chance. There's a North Atlantic Treaty. Pardon me, go look that up. North Atlantic Treaty. Moving the borders from the south and the north. All this is coming together here. It's like a well script, man. Anyhow, like I said, we're rolling in solidarity with Dominica, Barbados National Congress. As such, I want to play something for the people in Dominica, just as a reminder of the folk lords and the goodwill of the man and the women, the men and the women of this region, the indigenous people of this region. We got to have that conversation, family, because it's that time.
In the year 1493, Christopher Columbus came. He saw a huge mass of land. It was green, so high and untamed. It was Sunday, a lovely day, and blue as the sea and sky. We'll name this new land Dominica, after all Lord's Day he cried. Nuni belle, nuni quadri, nuni shinti bako so sepot, mene come to risule, mene pilaja, habite yo po Dominica do, habite yo po Dominica do. At first carrots were not friendly, they chased strangers away. For a long time this land was theirs, for no one else wanted to stay. But now today we can be free, and the land belongs to all. We'll make all land a happy dreamland, all will be welcome to all. When the British heard of this place, they came to settle him. They brought Africans to our soil, the Caribs were to stay with them. French people got to know of the land, so they came with a mind and will. Though the British want battle and the French country's here with us still. No ni belle, no ni quadrille, no ni zipping, not a song record. Mene come to risule, pour mene pilajam. Me pakite yo kwa Dominica do. Pakite yo kwa Dominica do.
Yes. Energy. Dominicans, do not forget who you are. Sons and daughters of the soil, those that fought bravely and won your liberation. Don't let these politicians fool you with their folly, ignorance. Don't let them fool you. In fact, we're going across the Trinidad real quick. One Caribbean going across the Trinidad. We're gonna let the sister Queen Omega. Thanks, Empress. We're gonna let the sister tell us what time it is, man. Haile Selassie first, Empress Reserve, man, and family, one perfect balance, man. That's what's going on, man. There's some other stuff I wanted to drop tonight, man. I ain't even gonna touch it. Like this, yeah, I ain't even gonna touch it, man. Jamaica, Trinidad, I ain't gonna touch it. Barbados. Family, we got to focus on restoring sovereign indigenous rights. Don't let them fool you, family. Because when you study it, they don't have no love for you.
We want more love. We got to show love. Queen Omega says show love. Yo, some of them ain't got no love. No love. No love in them hearts. Me see them gone. No love in this world when they lose them soul under mind control. Some of them leaders got no love. No love. No love in them hearts. Me see them gone. No love at all. That's why this wicked system it up fall. You cannot lead if you're not dealing righteousness. Equality for the people wants peace and justice. Freedom of choices and the right to take a stand against the great deception played upon the nation. And me not in the classes for see that them don't care them.
I'll pull that one for the top. Jackie, I hear you, man. Make that happen.
We want more love.
People.
We got to show love.
Love
Queen Omega says show love. Yo, some of them ain't got no love. No love. No love in them hearts. Me see them gone. No love in this world when they lose them soul under mind control. Some of them leaders got no love. No love. No love in them hearts. For the people wants peace and justice, freedom of choices and the right to take a stand against the great deception played upon the nation. And me not need the glasses for see that them don't care them what they kill me ambition and spoil me career. Look how them poison the atmosphere with all them hatred and greed, injustice and fear, cause them got no love. No love. No love in them hearts. Me see them gone. No love in this world. Many lose them soul under my control. Some of them leaders got no love. No love. No love in them hearts. Me see them gone. No love at all. That's why this wicked system it up before. Love is the greatest power and it can't be denied. It is the raindrops that fall from the sky. The very energy we absorb every time the sun shines. We cannot live without love. Love is the most high. Me see it from afar. Them no respect master God. Them treat your people like lab rats and guinea hog. Enough of them a end up in a body bag while the lets them a smile and a bust and a brag. Cause them got no love. No love. No love in them hearts. We see them God. No love in this world. Many lose them soul under mind control. The leaders them got no love. No love. No love in them hearts. We see them God. No love at all.
None.
How long will the heathen rage creating mischief? Take away from the people yet nothing them a give. The struggle real, we struggling to stay alive. Me see some a sell out them soul to survive. And even a blind man can see them have no heart. Many weapons of destruction to keep us apart. You can check it out and do the math. escape the wrath, cause them don't got no love, no love, no love in them heart. We see them God, no love in this world. Many lose them soul under my control. Some of them ain't got no love, no love, no love in them heart. We see them God, no love at all. That's why this wicked system it have to fall. You cannot lead if you're not dealing righteousness. Equality for the people wants peace and justice. Freedom of choices and the right to take a stand against the great deception played upon the nation. And me no need the glasses to see that them no care. They want to kill me ambition and spoil me career. Look how them poison the atmosphere with all the hatred and greed, injustice and fear. Cause them got no love, no love, no love in them heart. Me see them God, no love in this world. Many lose them soul under my control. Some of them ain't got no love.